And a very big thank you to the capacity crowd.
Who are you?
Well, as you can tell, I'm not Mark Murphy. We do have a little photo of him just in celebration. I'm his other half. I'm Lesley Dolphin. Hopefully, I'm here for 1 week only because Murph is recovering from a touch of pneumonia. Poor boy. I am pleased to report that he is home and starting to be just a bit more demanding, I'm afraid. Anyway, welcome to this, the latest episode of Life's a Pitch TV on YouTube and on podcast, brought to you in association with DPS Tech. A massive thank you to all our other sponsors for making this show happen. All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Venue 16, and now added to the list, Fred Olsen Logistics. So thank you and welcome. Big round of applause for them.
Well done.
Now, a big welcome, of course, because we've got a great team with us, as always. A big hand for former Ipswich and England skipper Terry Butcher. Former Ipswich and England star Russell Osman. And from behind Beatty's Bar from twtd.co.uk, nearly got it right, it's Phil Ham. And on technicals, we have Richard Garrett and Mark Culver. They're the important. And of course, we couldn't do it without our capacity crowd. See, you always say, don't you?
It's the best crowd we've ever had.
I think
it's the best crowd. I
really
say that every
is.
week. Even the crowd of 3 last week was the best crowd we ever had.
And don't forget, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does make a huge difference to us going forward. So I'll introduce you to our very special guest. He's mingling with the capacity crowd at the moment. We'll do that in just a minute or two. But it's been a great week for Ipswich Town, starting with a win away at Sheffield Wednesday last Saturday at Terry and Russ.
Doing great, aren't they?
They're doing well. You saw that game, didn't you? You saw that game live.
Yep.
On the TV. So I was away. So, but were they that impressive, Tam? When on the game, I saw the highlights and they looked pretty good. Were they that impressive?
No, I think it's a scrappy game, you know. And looking back a bit, and I spoke to Mr. Thompson, who used to be the fullback. Neil Thompson. Spoke to Neil Thompson yesterday, who works, I think, with the under-21s, does he? Sheffield Wednesday. He said their club at the moment, Sheffield Wednesday, is in a complete mess. Obviously, Dan Moore, who got them promotion at the end of last season, he got sacked before the start of this year's campaign. And Neil just said, you know, there's really no direction with the club at all at the moment. And when Town played them, it looked like the players hadn't really got a clue what they were doing compared to our lads who really seem to know where everybody's going to be on the pitch and what the game plan is and everything. We were very good in that. We didn't execute it as well as probably McKenna would have wanted them to, but we were miles ahead of Sheffield Wednesday, miles ahead.
And should it have been more than just the one goal? Was there? What I saw on the TV from the highlights was Town had some really good chances, like one-on-ones, and you know they didn't put it away.
No,
so
we had a couple of good chances. I think Freddie had a half decent chance, didn't he? That he took quite early on. We got in down the right hand side again, as we usually do with Wes Burns. He provided a couple of decent balls into the box. But again, I think it's important that sometimes we get wins like that. A little 1-0 away win where you've just had to dig it out, really, in a scuffy game means a lot more than like a comfortable 3-0 win where you've just got through the motions.
But we love those 1-0 wins, don't we?
We do, yeah.
Any time you won away from home and it was 1-0,
yeah,
it was a real great stuff.
Yeah, Massimo Longo said much the same after the game, that you enjoy the 1-0s more.
He was good, wasn't he, on the day? He produced some really good passes going forward as well.
Yeah, but I mean it should have been more. I think George Hurst came on second half. I think he had 2 opportunities almost immediately, didn't he? And it was there were a number of opportunities.
But Massimo, he produced the ball for Leif Davis to get down the left hand side, and again it was a cut back. Connor Chaplin, again, what he does do, he hits the target, and he's gone through the defenders there, through the goalkeeper into the net, but he's executed the opportunity that he had. All he could do was make sure you hit the target. And he did that, and he did that well. And I thought Freddie was a little bit unlucky. Obviously, he didn't start the other night at Southampton, but, that game in particular was a well dug out 3 points.
And Terry, you were there at Southampton, weren't you?
Yeah, it was a great experience. I was there with my son, who was taller than me, so he saw more of the game than I did. But no,
if you'd have told me, I had a couple of tickets
right,
as well for that game that you could have had.
I bet people loved you behind you.
Were they directors' box tickets?
Yeah, they were directors' box tickets.
Well, no, I wouldn't have changed my tickets for the world, which I bought and paid for and went there. It was fantastic, and to be with the crowd. Yeah. I haven't done that for about 50 years. It's just unbelievable. Times have changed, of course, but
the crowd here.
The crowd here, yeah. So I'm used to being in the crowd now. But it was, the atmosphere was great. The songs were great, few naughty words and all that sort of thing. And the guy in front of me must have his wrist must have been so sore after the game because he was making gestures to the crowd, and I didn't know what the gesture was, but I'm not going to describe it now. But it was a bit flippy floppy with his wrist and that sort of thing. He must have about over 100 times. He said he was calling.
I bet they loved you there, though, didn't they? To have you there.
They just ignored me and watched the game. To be honest, it was great. It was just pure football. It was just what football's all about, being with the punters. And yeah, it was great behind the goal. I enjoyed it. And once again, Ipswich had not great chances, but won 1-0 and should have won by more than that. And I think that's in 2 games where we've had chances and we should have won by more, yet we haven't. So it's good in one respect.
We've still kept it right at the other end of the pitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I think you would have enjoyed going back to Southampton because some of the Southampton supporters will remember when you used to play at the Old Dell.
Yeah.
One game in particular when I don't think it quite lasted the full 90 minutes, did you?
No.
No. And?
Well, I got sent off. Come on. It was on Steve Williams, and anybody playing against Steve Williams would just like to kick him right up in the air, which I did twice, and I got sent off. Yeah. When Kevin Keegan came over for the second booking and was telling the referee to book me, and the referee panicked, and he got the second yellow out, and that was me off. And then I'm trudging off, went up the stairs. You have to go up the stairs at the Dell. Remember that? Off the pitch.
Bottom corner, yeah.
To trudge up the stairs on my own, and then kicked the door in on the Ipswich dressing room door when I came in. There was like
another door.
3 slats on the bottom, and they went in, and then I heard the commentary. The commentary of the game was on in the dressing room, and of course Southampton score the last minute equaliser. But the best thing was when you came in after the game and you told me what you'd done to Kevin Keegan. You remember that?
Yeah, I do actually. Kevin was a bit naughty in the way he helped the referee get you sent off, really. He was trying to referee the game, for the whole 90 minutes, Kevin. And we'd both played with him at England level and stuff like that. And when you got sent off, the free kick that they awarded against you suddenly got swung onto the far post. And I was marking Kevin at the time. And somehow I got this involuntary movement from my right elbow that caught him just above the eyebrow, and I think it put about 8 stitches across his eyebrow. Kevin, after the game, I think he realised he'd been a bit out of order, and he said it was an accidental clash of heads, and under one of the pictures in the newspaper on a Sunday, that was no accidental clash of heads. That was a
and I remember
an elbow.
I remember the game against Southampton the following year, and he came to Portman Road, and I remember tackling him, and I got up first. I was first to get up, which is unusual. So I got up and I just walked all over his chest. It was a complete accident. I didn't mean to do it. Well,
was that the same game that Brazil scored all 5?
Yeah, I think. Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't that game, but it was just to play against him and have a go at him afterwards was that was. I waited a bit of time for that, but it was really enjoyable. Really enjoyable.
Such a role model. Yeah. You actually, Russell, you played for Southampton, didn't you? It's great to see us beating a team that's just come down from the Premiership.
Yeah, they're having a bit of a tough time at the moment. Matt Gill is there with Russell Martin, and they're just finding it a bit tough going at the moment, leaking in a few goals. Leicester City, mind you, they played them the other day, and I think Leicester put, was it 4 past them?
Yeah.
Sunderland put 5 past them. But I played for Cardiff, played for Southampton. I played for Leicester. Who else did I play for? I played for Ipswich and
Bristol
I played
City.
for Bristol. So 5 teams in the Championship. So there's going to be some good games.
I don't know how you felt going to the game, but I felt going to the game, I had no worries about us winning the game. I felt really supremely confident. How do you feel about going to the game with the crowd? Yeah,
I think that's it. It's those, you get into seasons, don't you, where you just feel that you go, as you say, you go with supreme confidence. You expect to win. I'm sure you, back in 80, 81, expected to win games as players. Well, I think fans now, the seasons, perhaps under George, we used to feel that, and 2000, 2001 season when we did so well in the Premier League. We were going to these big grounds and we were thinking, well, we've got a chance here. We're going to win here. And it's starting to feel a bit like that again this season.
Yeah, it's a lovely feeling. Lovely.
We'll talk more about the season when we talk to our special guest. We will introduce you in just a minute or two. Keep the tension going just a little bit. But I've had some nice comments about your programme. Clive Field from around the world. This is Vancouver Island. Not a bad place to be, I have to say.
Been there.
Have you as well?
Yeah, with the club.
Yeah, with the club.
Oh, with the club, did you go?
Yeah.
A lovely place. Living so far from Portman Road, he says, I'm really enjoying the show and hearing from town legends. I love the chat with Alan Lee about players' songs. One of my favourites was, he's French, he's hard, he's got a yellow card. Thank you, Emmanuel Pettis. He says, I love seeing a tough player in the side, and Terry would appreciate that. Don't know what he's talking about, do you?
He was tough as well, so and they were all tough in those days. It's what it's about, and I'm sure that the crowd would love to see someone go in with a really crunching tackle. Would you not? Yeah, well, he'd probably get a red card now, or 3 red cards, or whatever it is, they get it now. But you can't do that now. So you just have to, it's just think of what you could have done, sort of thing. Just admire the way that we play the football now, which is excellent.
We've been sent a flag as well, been loaned a flag, because it's doing very well, isn't it? What with the Mark Murphy photo and got Ed,
if you can keep that flag in front of Mark's picture.
Put it in front of the photo. I've got to say a big thank you to Kirk Powell of Long Welford and Sudbury who sent that through. So
is that for this season as well? Promoted,
Promoted, it would be good, wouldn't it, if it's this season as well?
Yeah, it would be
so
lovely.
big thank you to you, Kirk. Thank you very much for that. Another nice comment from Josh in Western Australia. He says, I moved here in July through uni. I'm a lifelong town fan and a season ticket holder. Loving the show week in, week out. It's my new Friday morning routine, keeping up the cracking work and excellent guests, he says to you. Alan Lee was my hero as a young town supporter. My first ever away game was Southend. We won 3-1 in 2006. I believe that Al bagged the 3rd goal that day. Fantastic memories. Also an email, this is quite a long email, so I'll praise it. It's from Dave Clark, who says he's from the land of jam in Tiptree. He says, following Russell's attendance at Alan Brazil's charity golf day, how did Russell find it playing-wise? And did Alan get asked to appear on a future episode of the show?
He has been asked to appear on a future episode of the show. The problem is he's just started a new schedule with TalkSport Radio, so he's now doing Wednesdays, Thursdays and Friday mornings, so he might find it a bit difficult to squeeze in with our normal routine, but I'm sure somewhere down the line we'll be able to get him on air.
Have to do there is a possibility, because I know we're hoping to record on a Friday next week.
If we had some chilled Shabley here, I'm sure he'd come,
And as for the golf, the golf was wet, the golf was windy, it was good. He had 2 charity golf days, one on Monday at the Grove in Watford, and then on the Tuesday at Centurion. And by the end of the day on Tuesday, I was feeling it. It was a bit heavy. A few beers were consumed along the way.
And he also wants to know, Terry, did you go?
No.
That's all right then.
I think I saw the weather forecast, don't know.
Yeah.
He also wants to know if you've got any funny stories about Sir Bobby and other former town players, but I think we cover those week in, week out, so we'll see what happens later today. I'm sure we'll have to do a special, I think, won't we, as well. He says, thank you for the show. It's a lovely alcove of remembrance of when Terry and Russell and other former players used to play for Ipswich, but also a fantastic celebration of how town are performing now and how the whole community thrives when it does. And he does say, could I ask for the team team to wish my cousin Neil Copping, who's recovering from having a pacemaker fitted, to get well soon. He says Neil's like a brother to me and sadly was born with a hole in his heart, and this message would make him smile. So we obviously send him lots and lots of best wishes from us.
Send
here
our
as well.
best wishes, yes.
Yeah,
fantastic.
okay. So a big thank you to you for getting in touch, and I will make sure you know how to get in touch with us. Towards the end of the programme, we've got a website and so on, but do you think it's high time we introduced our special guest who's loitering at the back of the crowd? A very big warm welcome for our very special guest this week is the former Ipswich Town legend, Jason Dozzell. Very good.
Is that right?
The crowd definitely in good voice, aren't
Yes, they are.
Jason, thank you for coming along. I didn't
problem.
stand up there because you are vastly taller than me. I have to say I need an orange
Everyone
box
is
as well.
Leslie, everyone is taller.
Yeah, thank you. We're been talking about Town, how they're doing so far. So what do you make of the season so far?
Unbelievable, really. And the momentum they had last year has just carried on. And just goes to show, no matter what league Ipswich are in, if they're winning, the fans will come back. And this, what they're doing now, is there's just something in the air. Something is about to happen really big. And it's been there for the last year. So it's great for everybody, especially the fans, because they've been starved for the last 25 years or whatever. They've not had a good time. And basically, it's great for the players and everyone else, but the fans, what they've been through, and now they're seeing this. Everyone's buying into what the club is trying to do. So it's just a great time to be an Ipswich fan at the moment.
Take us back to your earliest memories, because you used to watch Town as a youngster, didn't you?
I used to, watch them train and everything, because I lived 400 yards from the North Stand. So all my football education was on the park behind. So one Saturday afternoon, you could sneak in at half-time back in the 70s or whatever. I think it was about 75 when I first went. So I sneaked in at half-time and I was mesmerised from the first minute I walked in. And then it just escalated. I went every week, and then got to the FA Cup final at 11, and got to the 81 team, which, like you said earlier, walking to the ground from my house in London Road, it was a feeling, how many are going to win by today? Those feelings don't come around very often, but that was that feeling, like a bit like now, but it was just electric. Then, next minute I'm standing in the North Stand with my brother watching these two. And the night games was just unbelievable, intense but unbelievable. And I was there till I made my debut.
I was going to ask who your heroes were at the time. Then, so are you sitting next to two of them?
Yes, of course I am. The 81 side, I loved them all. And if I was standing in the North Stand watching them, and if you would have said to me when I was 12, 3 years down the line, you're going to be playing with these guys, I would have said you need locking up. but it happened. And like I said, as a schoolboy, I get the call from Bobby, I'm having Thursday off school, you're going to train with us. All I'm thinking about is these two, because I was a striker then. So I'm thinking, Butcher Osman, Jesus Christ. What am I going to do? So the order of the day was one touch right through the session, because they're not going to kick me if you play one touch. So I just played one touch all session and got through it. So, just magical time.
Wasn't there a story about you hiding in the laundry room?
Yeah, you must understand, I was badly in awe of these guys, really badly. So I walked from my house. I've got to go and train with these superstars.
How old were you at this time, do you think?
Just 16.
Okay.
And I've got to walk into the change, Paul Marin, all internationals. So if you know Ipswich Town, the changing room, there's a boiler room as you go to the right. So I'm just in awe.
You're still at school at this time, aren't you?
Yeah. So the changing room's a bit further on than the boiler room. So I'm just shitting myself, basically. So I turned right and hid in the boiler room for 20 minutes, and I did not come out. But I had a big afro at the time, so it was a bit higher than... and then I get a shout, Jason, is that you? Yeah, just looking for a towel. And then I went into the changing room with all these players, and it was... But they were great. So, especially these two, in my early days, Butch and Russell, played a big part in making me feel at ease.
Do you remember him? Do you remember his debut as well?
My memory isn't as good as Terry's, but I remember his debut. I remember giving him a lift home afterwards, making sure he got home safe and sound and didn't go off celebrating into the night.
It wasn't a good ride home. If you know Russell, he's got the best cars, right? He's got this, pulls up with this Mercedes Jeep. I get in the front looking for a nice ride home. He goes, no, get in the back and hide under the seat. Bobby's told me to hide you from the reporters. So I'm in the back of his Jeep and then pull outside my house. My mum sees me climbing out the back.
Kicked him out the
back thing. He said, what are you doing? He said, no, I've had to hide because Bobby didn't want me to. The Welsh press was waiting outside. So I had to jump in the back. But yeah, it was a great story. Great time.
It wasn't a long ride home because it was only.
Didn't get out of second gear.
Yeah. He didn't charge you petrol, did he?
No, but all my family was waiting outside. I just didn't know what was happening when I got out the back under the seat. That's all.
So tell me about football itself. When did you know you were going to be a good footballer?
No. I probably was more an Ipswich Town fan and thinking I'm going to make it. I was fiercely into Ipswich as a fan. I mean, my day would be go and play for South Suffolk in the morning because there was no academy in them days. Go and play for South Suffolk. Get in the bath, sing me Johnny Walk song back in the day, get a shout from downstairs, stop swearing, and then walk to the football. It was religiously, I'd done that until I played from the age of, I was looking at my first game was about 6.
And did someone spot you? Is that how you came?
No. I could have gone, I was training at West Ham, Ipswich came late.
Okay.
Because I was playing in the Essex League when I was young. So the Essex Scouts, I went to West Ham and John Lyall was the manager then. And I was going to probably sign, but Ipswich came in late. I mean, it was only giving me one winner. And there's Ipswich.
It must have been amazing to walk out that first time in your own home ground as a player.
Yeah, I think you're so young. I think most of it, it's only when I think back now, how did you deal with it all? I mean, when you're so young, you just go with the flow. Not really understanding the occasion.
Can you remember the team?
Yeah, sort of. But so I didn't know I was going to be sub. By the way, they only had one sub in them days. So we go over and I have boiled chicken and beans or whatever. Just scoffed it down. I ain't had food like that before. It was fucking lovely. And then all I remember this very well. Going into the players' lounge and the horses were on. I thought I was going to go in there and watch grandstand or something. I mean, Paul Cooper and Eric Gates were just going nuts for the horses.
Yeah.
So I had a long wait for that. And then he names the team. And my name was called and it was, Jesus Christ. I thought I was there just for the experience, maybe another time. And his name is sub. I think Paul Cooper was in goal, obviously.
Yeah, just to put you out of your misery. Yeah, go on.
George Burley.
Yeah.
Butch.
Yeah. So Coop, Bunch, George.
Did you play? Did you?
No, I played, yeah.
You played that, didn't you?
Yeah, I played that one, yeah.
McCall
played. Walkie
played. Paul Mariner played.
Mars played.
Because that was his last game.
Was it?
Yeah, and my first.
Yeah. So Eric played.
Eric Gates played.
Kevin O'Callaghan.
Played.
2 midfield lads.
Brennan.
Missing. Mark Brennan, yeah. Got him. And the other blonde.
Putney.
You got him.
Yeah. Putney, Trevor Putney, yeah.
You got the lot.
Yeah, I got the lot.
So
mad team.
You're on the bench.
Yeah.
And then at some point you get the call, don't you?
Yeah, 29 minutes. 29 minutes, Eric Gates gets injured and I'm on. So
how does that feel?
Again, you think it just goes, luckily you're so young, it just goes over your head. You don't have time to think. It's only now when you look back that it's, what was you feeling at the time? But, like I said, I can't remember feeling too much. Just too young, schoolboy. So maybe that helped in my favour.
Did you get into the game? Do you feel you played pretty well?
Don't think there was nothing special happening. But, fate is fate, isn't it? Something's got to happen.
And then it
especially the stand where I used to watch the players, these great players play. The 81 side, I was there for years, and to score in that end, it was always, I think, something was going to happen.
So it's a big shout, though, for manager Phil. Sorry, to come on for an hour, a 16-year-old schoolboy, you're thinking, crikey, might be able to bring him on for 15 minutes at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know the build-up. I don't know if you had a bad result the week before the fair. I think you might have done. I think it might have been Shrewsbury in the cup or something.
Yeah, lost 2-0 at Shrewsbury the previous week.
So,
right.
but still, it's
lost 2-1 at home to Birmingham the previous week.
Yeah, sorry. But, there's reserve players there who was ahead of me. I'm just a skinny little schoolboy from Elliott Street, just round the corner. And to get the call, looking back now, it was huge.
Yeah, but I think people like Bobby Ferguson, the manager, Charlie Woods, they could spot a good youngster.
Yeah,
they knew and they had confidence in their ability to spot a good youngster.
I think
that was the reason.
I think it was not long before that we played. I think this was the turning point. All right, okay, I'm going to put him in. We played Chelsea away, and this was Mickey's Droy.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had that
Giant.
same feeling with him as I did with you two when I was walking to the ground. Yeah, and that was a reserve game, and I was up front then. And it's because Mickey Droy might have been Doug Vrigby as well. Them two were centre halves. And like I said, I had a little plan, just play really early, and I managed to score in that game as well. So I think he managed to think, all right, he's handled that. He's handled that. This is Mickey Droy. If you don't know, Mickey Droy is well-known Chelsea player back in the 70s and 80s. He's handled this. We'll give him a go.
So talk us through the goal.
Which was
The
involved.
goal.
Which was
we haven't got
involved.
long enough, have we?
Was I?
You was involved.
Was I? I
You
can't
played the
believe
free
it.
kick up to Walkie.
Oh, I played a free kick, yeah. Anybody can
That's
play
an
a free
that's
kick.
an assist for me. That's an assist. It was a great ball. Walkie knocks it down, and then there was a race between me and the defender, and I got there first and hooked it over the keeper. So, yeah.
And then celebrate in front of the North Stand.
Yeah, all my friends.
What did you feel when you struck it and it's gone in? What did you think? Because we thought, thank God. See if he'd missed that, I'd have had him in the bath. I tell you that, I'd have smacked you.
Well, I thought you was going to have me in the bath. I played at Norwich in the semi-final of the.
Yeah, we'll move on from there. We'll move on from there. No.
Semi-final.
Well done now, still awake.
Yeah. I thought I was in trouble with you then.
But what did you feel? What did you feel? I mean,
Can you remember it, or was it all a blur?
Like I said, just think you're so young. It's just everything goes over your head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're so young, everything just goes over your head. It's only now that I think back and think, Jesus Christ. But I can only say not a lot, because you're actually so young. You're not thinking of the enormity of the occasion, or all I'm thinking about is what I used to feel was more as a supporter then, thinking I was going to be a footballer. This happened so quick that you really didn't have time to think.
So you were protected from the reporters. Was your? I bet you were in the paper though, weren't you?
Yeah. So I got up Sunday morning and I was on the back pages, and then looked at the front. My mum's done a double spread at the front. Yeah, she's smart, she is. So, yeah, again, it was like, because I went to play for my Sunday league side on the Sunday.
Oh, straight up.
Yeah. I was going to play because we was out in Essex. I didn't think no one would be there, but the press were all over it, and I didn't play in the end.
They went to your school, didn't you? You were at Chantry, weren't you? And
The press descended on Chantry High School on the Monday, and we got out at playtime. Did I say playtime? What do you call it? No,
Break.
It was break. I said playtime, didn't I?
Break, yeah.
But no, covered.
Was it a nursery school? Was it? Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean.
He was in short trousers.
You know what I mean. During the break, it's all organised to get the whole school out, and the whole school in the playground, and I'm in the middle. Again, keep you up, but we're going to do later. I hope I get more than I did then.
Good luck with that.
He's giving it away.
I've done about 5, because that's the only time I went to school in shoes. I thought I looked a bit smart. And the ball was going everywhere. Yeah, so, yeah. And, that was great.
So what were all your mates at school? Did they rib you, or were they proud of you?
Yeah, a bit of both. Took a bit of ribbing. But, it's just really, really happy for me.
Yeah.
Really good.
And you were with Town when they went up to the Premiership as well, weren't you?
Yeah, 91.
Yeah,
91. And
was John Lyall was manager then? Was he as well?
The thing about John is, like I said, I was at West Ham when I was 13, and then the first thing he said to me was, "I got you at last." So he was aware that I was there at 13 at West Ham. So yeah, that year was really special, because, like I said, I've accomplished a lot, but one of the biggest accomplishments that I did was to captain the football club. From 10, David Lineker got injured, and I took over around March time, and we got over the line. So of all the things I've done, that was one of the biggest. You know, this boy who's lived 400 yards got to manage captain his hometown club was huge for me. So a really proud moment.
There was very little was expected of you that year, was there? Because I think you finished 14th or something like that the previous year, and very few signings.
No, there was nothing. It was a few dull years. Really, crowd were disappointed with everything that was going on. I think our first game was against Tranmere in front of 8,000, something like that.
But it was,
so the fans had just completely given up in a way. So after the 81 side, you know, and all that, the success they had, this was not a good time. And it just came from nowhere. Like I said, that year I will always say we didn't have the best team, we had the best manager. And that we got to Christmas in first place, and it just kicked on from there. And it had to feel like it did now. The supporters were going everywhere, and they got us over the line.
It was a brilliant cup run that year as well.
Yes, there was. Liverpool or Wales should have beat them at home. Actually, I remember that game.
The windiest game
ever.
ever.
I think Johnny Walk hit the bar, and took them up to there, and 2-1 in extra time. We're leading.
You scored the second goal.
Yeah, but a minute later we were 3-2 down. It was crazy day.
Still celebrating the goal, were you?
Hey? Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, I mean, if you ever saw the game, there was a free kick on the edge of the box. It was never a free kick. But the free kick was special by Mulby, and Forrest didn't even move, and next thing you know, you're 3-2 down. So
it was McManaman, wasn't it?
McManaman got the winner, yeah.
But that must have been special for you that year then. You'd seen Terry and Russell in 81 on the town hall steps, and it was your turn in 92 to be on the
exactly.
On the
I was as a supporter in 78 on the Cornhill and 81 on the Cornhill on the top of boots, really high up, and like I said, to be on that balcony as a player. It's what dreams are made of, to be honest with you.
It's special, isn't it?
No, it's what dreams are made of. Like I said, when you could hear the roars from my house on a Saturday afternoon, and at 5 or 6, you don't know what it was. Don't know the football ground's just behind, and it's echoing through the streets of Elliott Street. There's a roar. It was quite scary as a 5 or 6 year old. I just start jumping in my house. What the hell is that, Mum? And she explained it to me. So then I'm starting to play football on that park behind the North Stand, and that's where it all started. So these are just dreams for me, and honestly,
that park started for us as well, because we used to train over there, didn't we, with the youth team?
We did a lot,
Charlie Woods, because we only had one pitch for 3 teams, so we trained over there.
What I used to do in 81, we had the tango balls, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I'd wait for some shooting. I'd put my hood up and put a hat on, right? No, I'm sorry, I've never said this before. I'd be waiting in the park, and I'd wait for a ball to go over, and I'd run home with it.
Quite right. I'd have done the same.
So it was you.
Yeah, it was you. That was me running away.
Right.
Did you sell them or play with them?
No. I wanted that tango ball. I loved them tango balls. Yeah, you won.
They were great, weren't
they? They were. You can ping them out for fun. They were great balls.
Yeah. Was it the colour? I don't know.
No, they're black and white. Well, you know what they are.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Adidas ball is brilliant, and we used to use those other stupid ones years before, didn't we?
The red and white ones. Surridge Cobbler.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the Surridge Cobbler or that Minerva thing, that Mitre Minerva thing.
Yeah, because every club
red band around it
could have their own ball contract. So every
Yeah.
club had a different football. Yeah.
Somebody must have done a deal on that contract for those balls we were using that was not playing, because you wouldn't play with those balls.
No.
If you could get those, Adidas Tangos, they were like.
That's what I'm
How many
saying.
did you
I
get?
would. No, they were that good. There weren't many going over. See what I'm saying? But you'd have to wait for one to hit the bar and then go over, and then that's what happened. Then I'll be on my bike home.
You got a bike as well?
No, running.
Was that where you got your pace from? Was it? Yeah.
I didn't get caught anyway.
So that's is that in the book? Because you're writing a book at this very minute, aren't we?
Yes, I am. Yeah. That will be in the book.
Is that?
Yes, definitely.
What's it been like looking back? Has it brought back lots of the memories?
Yes. For different reasons. There's a lot in the book which is not football related, which the book will say. Unfortunately, for a good book, you've got to have lots of highs, lots of lows, a bit of trauma here, there, and everywhere, which I've had. So it's just a chance for people to get what I'm trying to say here, the build up. Everyone knows I played for Ipswich. I don't know how I got there, and life after football. So yeah, this will be a good read. I hope.
And you'll come back before, because I know Mark.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming back.
Mark Murphy was gutted that he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah, I think I'm about halfway through it. Yeah. So, yeah, got to get it right.
We'll look forward to it.
Yes, I'm sure you will.
Back for that. Now, you mentioned Keep It Up, and you have said you're going to do it, haven't you? So I think a big round of applause before he even starts.
Let's go, Jason.
So the Keep It Up challenge, and in fact...
There's no pressure.
We have no pressure. We've updated the list, which if I can...
No.
I quickly tell you, so far,
Well,
Luke Chambers is
you
at
are,
59, Alan Lee is at 58, Connor Chaplin 52, Russell Osman 28, Mickey Stockwell is tall, isn't he? 11. Now, what was it? Don't forget the ball yet. So what was the excuse again?
Tight jeans.
Nearly 60.
Tight jeans.
What was it? What was the other one?
Back toe. Anything else?
Yeah, you always had a back
Tight
toe.
jeans.
No pressure from us, Jason.
So 59, yeah, I think didn't Alan Lee did use the wall, I think, a bit, didn't he? So, and the audience, you get 60 seconds.
That's your target.
60 seconds. Phil Ham, what did you get? Okay,
Just
right,
the one.
let's go. Okay, so it is time for the Keep It Up challenge. 60 seconds. 60 seconds starting now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Settle into a nice bit of rhythm. Ooh.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49.
49.
I'm delighted with that.
Fantastic. Well done. Well
Very
done.
good.
Come and sit down. 49. I made that as well. Very good. You haven't got any injuries, have you? No injuries. Thank you. Well done. Well done. So congratulations. So we'll make sure you're there on the chart for next week. Right. That's it. We'll have some questions from the socials with you in just a minute or two. But it's time for Town News in Brief now with Phil Ham from twtd.co.uk.
Here is the news. Always want to do that. I think the big kind of news, sort of injury-wise, Leif Davis and Caden Jackson both got problems, ankle and knee. But after the game on Tuesday at Southampton, Kieran McKenna said they're not too bad injuries, which is he's not expecting them to be out for wasn't quite sure on time, but didn't think they were serious, which is particularly Leif Davis is a very significant thing, isn't he? He's a key man in the team.
How do you think Williams did at Southampton?
I thought he did very well, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't. I think he plays a different sort of role to Leif Davis.
Very different sort of role, yeah.
Yeah, you're not keen.
No.
Anyway,
moving on.
But Leif Davis then not being out for long is
That's good news.
It's very good news, isn't it? Really, because it looked quite of a concern, didn't it, when he went down at Sheffield Wednesday? So,
but he always goes down, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He always 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, he just hits the deck and
at least a couple of
puts
times.
his hand up sometimes and all that. And
And Christian Walton, Kieran at his press conference on last Friday said that he's back on the grass, diving around, so not too far away. But it gives him a dilemma, doesn't it? Václav Hladký has done very well in his stead, and actually I think in terms of kind of the sort of footballing side of being a goalkeeper is probably the better of the two, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would.
Oh.
I would actually. And I tell you what, in the last 2 games in particular, when we've only been 1-0 up, he's made very crucial saves.
Yeah, one from Che Adams.
Really crucial saves. I'm not saying that Christian Walton wouldn't make the saves, but he really has contributed. So he can look back over the start of the season and say, yeah, he should be proud of that.
But do you think that as soon as Walton is fit, he comes straight in, or will Hladky, has he done enough to keep his place?
I think he's done enough to keep his place at the moment. There's just the one occasion with probably the Leeds goal, one of the first or the second goal.
Well, the cross to the far post.
Yeah,
he probably could
when
have done.
Leif Davis could have dealt with it better, or Hladky could have dealt with it better. Neither of them did anything really. So I just think that we miss Christian Walton's long ball out to Wes Burns a little bit. You know, that's why I think he's a little bit better with his feet. Hladky does give me the jitters a little bit when he starts rolling the ball around with the bottom of his boot. But, you know, while he's doing it and doing it well, keep it going.
He hasn't lost the ball yet in that circumstance, has he?
No. Yeah, Christian Walton's got to wait till he gets the opportunity to get back in goal. You know, and I don't think Hladky's going to give up his position there very easily.
No, I don't. I agree with you. I think he's.
I don't think it's a straight in and out job.
No. And start to the season, as we all know, fantastic. 6 wins in 7, best since 1980-81, which a couple of people here were involved in. When you won 7 out of 8, and you actually drew the other rather than losing. So illustrious.
So our record was better.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
still unbeaten.
Yes, it's all right. Yeah, I'm not. You know,
Yeah.
you're
No, I just wonder where you're going with this, but there we are.
Well, I thought it was a neat, nice thing that to bring back your.
Yes, thank you.
Remarkable start to that season, which obviously was the greatest season in the club's history, as I'm sure you agree.
Thank you, Phil.
Stop crawling now. You need to get on with it.
And only 5 teams have won 6 of their first 7 games in the Championship in the last 10 years, 3 of which are this season, which is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a tough league. It's a tough league, isn't it? I mean, it's already like we saw a tough league last year with Plymouth beating us and pipping us right at the death, but. Yeah, it adds. I mean, teams up there that you sort of think, well, Preston are up there, so
this is going to be a tough season.
It is going to be tough. Yeah.
I think the points totals this year are probably going to be higher than the points totals in the Championship last year, because I think last year was fairly close, other than Burnley, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's going to be tough though.
Yeah, and big news last week was that Mark Ashton announced a training ground upgrade. Now, two of you have worked at the training ground relatively recently. Well, you worked at the training ground as well, haven't you? And do you feel it's slipped behind where it should be?
Yep. Well, I don't know whether it's slipped behind. It's just not. It's not kept up to speed with how the rest of the club is going at the moment. You know, it has to a certain point, but I think they need to keep it going. So you can't stand still at the moment. You know, it's a big club, lots of players. They need the room. They need the space. They need to keep improving every department of the club at the moment.
Jason, you've probably seen other current training grounds.
Yes, I have. But yes, they're spending money. You go to Portman Road, the construction's what they're doing, because I'm based down there now.
Yeah.
The money they're spending on just tidying it up, because it was a mess. Even like the statues were a mess. Everything's just been cleaned up. It's starting to look like a proper football ground again. And the training ground, yes, it needs upgrading to kick on.
But they've hardly spent any money. I mean, Marcus didn't spend anything up there.
Nothing.
So the pitches, all the pitches that didn't have drains. There's one sprinkler system, one pitch.
Yeah, I know.
Poor.
Yep, this new regime, they're giving it a real good go, and which for us to be a top football club again, which we're on our way.
But I think it does show as well that the board and the owners of the football club want to invest in the academy to bring through good young players and keep the tradition and history of the club.
They're investing in the community project. What they're doing, they are putting some serious money into that. So everything about the club is is just geared up for us going in up to the promised land, so to speak. So and hopefully we'll get there.
And international news. Your friend, Chris Kiwomya, manager of the British Virgin Islands, saw them to 3-1 win last week. Their first victory for 11 years. So they're obviously a very low sort of. The population is about the same as Portman Road's capacity.
Yeah.
And so, getting a win, terrific against the Turks and Caicos, is a terrific result, really. And he was thanked personally by the Premier, Natalio Wheatley. And so, hats off to Chris there. He's doing a good job.
Big well done from me, for Chris. Yeah, well done.
Very good. Very, very pleased for him.
And I've asked him to come on the future show, and he says he will. So
He'll be on.
we'll get him on at some point.
After that win, he will.
Mind you, it's a bit of a choice, really, coming to Life's a Pitch TV or
the British Virgin Islands.
the British Virgin Islands. I wonder which one I would pick. I don't know.
Should we go out there and do the show?
Go out there and do the show.
I'm sure.
Have a word with Mr. Murphy.
The audience aren't coming. The audience aren't coming.
Travelling audience, yes.
So that concludes the news.
Thank you very much, Phil Ham, concluding the news for today. So that leads very nicely to Russell Osman and what has been happening to Ipswich Town in years gone by on this day. And this is sponsored now, I gather, by Fred Olsen Logistics. And as I said, presented by none other than Russell Osman.
Yeah, my little Ipswich Town on this day book from Dan Botton, who I hear on the grapevine, or Phil told me actually, that he's going to do another book. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, he is. Yes.
Great stuff. I like this book. And on this day, on Saturday, the 21st of September, back in 1991, Bristol City were destroyed 4-2 in Suffolk as Town staged second in Division 2. John Lyall's men put in a tremendous performance, capped by Paul Goddard's excellent final goals. So you would have been in that, would you?
Bristol City?
Yeah.
91?
It was.
91? Yeah, I'd have played in it.
91. Yeah.
Obviously a very memorable match for you. Yeah.
Were you at Bristol City then?
September. No, I don't think it was actually. No, I actually got there in November 91.
As a result of that game, probably. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Jimmy Lumsden, who was the manager at the time, I moved there in 1991 because he had a fallout with the Southampton manager then. I won't go into that one. Also on this date in 21st of September, one of your other teammates, he was parading his wares. Winger Kevin O'Callaghan played alongside BBC football pundit Mark Lawrenson as the Republic of Ireland crushed Iceland 3-0 in Reykjavik. Wow.
Yes, I seem to remember that match.
No, you don't.
No, I don't.
And that is it. Those are the only two entries on the 21st of September.
Yes, well, there'll probably be more next time when Dan does a new version. So,
Lovely.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed.
So we left you at the Premier League, didn't we? You just reached the first Premier League season. How was that?
Again, well, you've got to be careful. We came up, momentum from the year before, and we got to January in third place. But nearly went down.
So what was it?
Plus, we got to the quarterfinals of both cups, third in the league. But we took a hiding by Arsenal in one of the games, and we didn't recover. Plus, we didn't have the squad for any injuries. We had a really good 11. They stayed fit. And, yes, we get to January, and, we're thinking quarterfinals, third in the league. But it took us from the third game of the season to stay up. We went on a disastrous run from January on to late March, April. Didn't win a game. So we was in trouble by the end of March, whatever. And I think the game that saved us was against Norwich. Norwich at home.
I was going to come to this.
We're going to talk about that, I think, in a minute or two. I think Matt's got a question about that, so we'll save that for him.
Give that to Matt, yeah.
Yeah, is that okay?
But it's obviously coming up against big names, some of whom didn't take to you. Story about Vinnie Jones, I believe.
Yeah, Vinnie Jones. Well, it's just Vinnie Jones. He didn't have nothing personal against me. It's just that's what he does. What they do is from a corner, I'm near post, Vinnie's in front, I'm in the back. John Fashion's at the back. So, yeah, they just took a like to me, and Vinnie Jones had just left one on me. And, But my brother was there, so and then then them two were nearly having fisticuffs in the players' lounge afterwards. It was crazy, and that feud with them two went on for years because of it. Yeah, because my brother was a bit like Vinny in a way. So them two collided, and in the players' lounge was like, oh my God, they had to get separated apart, and that carried on all the way. That little feud. Even when I went to Tottenham, every time they saw each other, it was, oh my God, here we go.
I'm looking forward to the book. It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it much about your brother? Is it about you?
They have a few chapters, yeah.
How is Tony anyway?
Yeah, he's all right.
Give him my regards.
He's all right. He's the one.
Give him my love.
He's the one where I've got this fierce hatred for Norwich. He used to take me when I was young. I mean, I respect Norwich, but I was just brought up to hate him from a very young age because he used to take me to most of the matches, and Norwich was the one which stood out sometimes.
Should we? I've got some questions from the socials, but let's let Matt. So Matt's in our crowd today. Matt Cobbled. And Matt, you've got a question about Norwich, haven't you, as well?
Yeah.
And you're not doing very well. We've mentioned Norwich many a time, crowd.
They're asleep, Lesley. Wake them up.
I know, I've bored them.
I have fond memories of this game.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what your memories are. The Norwich game in the Premier League, the first ever Premier League.
Yeah, at Norwich away. Yeah.
No, at Portman Road.
At Portman Road?
Yeah.
The
3-1.
The 3-1 kept us up. But I'd had lots of games against Norwich and did very well. And I was
Not all of them.
Yeah. Oh, no,
That's from Mr. Cheerful.
I cost us going to Wembley. I know I did. But
Well, you didn't cost us, but you had a hand in it. But I mean, apart from that,
yeah. And you had a hand in the door in the changing rooms. Yeah.
This was the League Cup in '85.
85.
The semi-final at Carrow Road.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
And you were
Wembley,
marking Steve
Wembley.
Bruce.
Oh, Wembley was there. 1-0 at home, we won, but we actually got kicked off the park in Norwich. I mean, kicked off the park.
It was my fault. I got suspended after getting sent off at QPR in the quarter-final.
Yeah.
So I couldn't play the first leg of the semi-final.
Yeah.
Then Bobby Ferguson had made it perfectly clear to me that my time was up at Ipswich and I'd be, I'd have to find myself a new club. And hence when I was eligible to play the next game, the second leg of the semi-final at Norwich at Carrot Road, at Norwich. He didn't blame me. I was left in the stand watching, and Keith Hackett, the referee?
Yes,
it was the worst refereeing display I have ever seen, ever in my lifetime, ever.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn and he's invited me to connect. There's
Oh,
no way I'm
please.
connected with him. Absolutely
Can't.
no way at all.
Yeah.
It was
So if
disgraceful.
he's watching this, Keith, give up trying. Will you?
Yes, like I said, I've just got so many memories of Norwich as a supporter and a player, so I've got a bit off track to what you're trying to say. The 3-1 at home. You on about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any goal against Norwich is good for me, and even more special than any other goal because of my history and that how I was brought up to hate them. Big time. So anything playing, I mean, to be honest, my record, that's one defeat. We only lost in about 12, I think. But it was a big one. It was the biggest one.
The noise when you scored that one, the third goal from outside the box. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Was Brian Gunn in goal?
I'm not sure.
Is that the one you
he
blasted
was, I
that
think.
bounced about 8 times
Yeah.
before he went in the bottom corner?
Precision. Precision.
Well, if they'd come to you and offered you to play for them with lots more money, would you have done it?
They did.
Did
When I
they?
was at Tottenham, they did.
Wow.
But how can I?
You couldn't do it.
Nah, I'd have to move away. No, there's just no way. Just no way.
Time's
way.
getting away, so I'm going to scamper through
Yeah,
these.
okay.
Paul Hedger says, what did you first think when John Lyall took over as manager? And do you think, like a lot of the fan base, that John Lyall doesn't get a lot of credit for the job that he did at the club?
Of course, yeah. Like I've just given him the biggest compliment I could say. We wasn't the best team in that division. We had the best manager.
Yeah.
And for me, that says it all. And his management skills were unbelievable. You know what I mean? His door was always open, would always be up there. So he got a tune out of us that I don't think not many could get a tune out of us. But he just built us into this team. It wasn't like the Ipswich what they're playing now. We had a way of playing. When we got it forward, we could play. There was no getting in and out. We had Neil Thompson on the left back, and we had a 6'4" right winger and Steve Whitten. So that was a weapon for us because Steve would play up against a little fullback, he'd just bring it down on the chest, and we could run off it and go from there. But we had other ways as well. Me and Chris had a good little understanding on the pitch. Paul Goddard was a clever player. Simon Millman came in and he shared in. He was a top midfield goal scorer. So, like I said, that feeling from Christmas onwards was like a bit like it is today, when everyone's could feel something happening. Mm-hmm. So that was just a special time. That last 6 months was a bit like it is today.
So that was John Lyall as a manager. Mark H has been in touch and said, is there one manager, past or present, who you would like to have played under? And which foreign club would you have liked to play for during your career? He is guessing AC Milan or Barcelona.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I'm going Saudi. No.
You've always been a big fan of Saudi Arabian
always,
football, haven't you?
Always. Manager. I would like to play under Bobby Robson. Yeah. I would have loved to play under him because he signed me as a schoolboy. But as I came into the building, he got the England job. But if he was there, I wouldn't have got my debut, so it's bittersweet. But I would have loved to play under him because I can only imagine it was top draw. It was top draw.
And Ian Walbank, which was your favourite goal? And which was your best goal? So I guess they might be the same, and they might be different that you scored for Town.
No. My best goal was sentimental reasons. It's got to be my schoolboy goal for what it meant and where I was at the time. Best goal, and I've got some good goals, but there's none better than scoring against Norwich. So they're not as good as my best goals, but they mean a lot more to me.
Not your goal against Ipswich.
Huh?
Oh.
On your return when he was
again, remember I used that word fate. That was going to happen. I didn't know David Linnigan and Craig Frost going to run into each other and leave me with an open goal, did I? It wasn't my fault.
You could have missed.
I could have missed. It was so close. It was so close.
Do you remember missing a little tap in for Colchester one day?
Yeah.
Against Notts County?
If that was VAR, it was gone over the line. It was bad, but it still went over.
Okay.
Ian.
You watch it closely.
Yeah.
Ian, who sent the question
was it
in.
a goal?
Huh?
Was it a goal?
Yes.
When was it a goal?
It wasn't a goal, but it was a goal.
What was the goal then?
If VAR was there, there'd be a goal.
It's a big word.
over the line.
It's a big word. It's a big word.
Yeah, I know.
Ian, who sent this through, says that the goal at Wolves in 1990 was one that he remembers.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have to say which one because I scored for Wolves 3 years on a row away, and a couple of good goals. So I'm not sure which ones you mean.
He doesn't say, so I don't know. Pick your favourite.
Well, there was a volley from just outside the box. Could be that one, and there was a inside left channel, kind of I whipped into the top corner one. So. And another one. No, I'm not joking. I think my three best goals were Wolves away year after year after year. Was a run from the halfway line.
I'm just going to tell the audience that breakfast is served in 1 hour.
Honestly, I reckon it could be the running from the halfway line, beat a few players and smashed it in. It might be that one.
It might be that one as well.
Yeah.
A round of applause, huge round of applause. Jason Dozzell. Thank you so much, Jason, for coming in. Thank you.
No worries.
We'll look forward to getting you back when the book's out as well. Okie dokie. Don't leave just yet. I've just got. It's like on telly, isn't it? When people cut off. Just got a few goodbyes to do quickly. Next week, just to warn you, we're going to be available a day later on Friday night. So put that in your diary. Loads of town events happening next week, so we're going to record hopefully next Friday night, and hopefully the only Mark Murphy that there is should be sitting back on this sofa, hopefully. I've enjoyed it in the meantime, back on the sofa.
You've done very well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very good, Lesley. Very good, Lesley.
Nearly there. If you want, I said I'd tell you about keeping in touch. Just check out our Life's a Pitch socials on Facebook, Insta and Twitter, or shall I call it X. On YouTube, go on, as we always say, like and subscribe, please. It does help us keep the show going. And we've got a new website, www.lifesapitch.tv. I've not written TV there. Thank you. I nearly got it wrong. We've a couple of events coming up at the Dove and Venue 16 as well. So get yourself some tickets. And I've just been, I've been given some mugs. You can buy the mugs. There's merchandise on the website as well. So www.lifesapitch.tv. So big thanks again to our main sponsors. That's DPS Tech. We're also supported by All About Hearing, marketing company Ginger Pickle, Forward Floors, Come Hither Design, the Hudson Group, Sound 4 Pro Audio, Fred Olsen Logistics as well. Thank you, Capacity Crowd. You've been amazing. And thank you to you listening or watching. As I say, next Friday, 9 o'clock on YouTube and podcast. And what is it I have to say? Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Good night.
Well done, everybody.